You know what? I'm gonna hit you with the how Oprah does it, because you know she say your first name real quiet and stare at you.
Yeah. Stephen.
Stephen.
Yes.
If you know so much about marriage,
Yeah.
why have you never been married?
Because I didn't know how to act. This
Said
is
it in the
simple.
book. Your fault.
It's totally my fault. Totally my fault. It's not anybody's fault but mine. I was on the road over 200 days out of the year. I'm not going to be faithful being on the road 200 days out of the year.
You can.
No.
You can make that choice.
No.
Okay, just because you.
I didn't say you can't. I didn't say you can't. I said me. I could not be on the road as much as I'm on the road all of those years and honor our relationship. I know how to treat a woman very well. My mother and my 4 sisters raised me very much. And I'm one of those guys that call it a blessing or a curse. 90% of my living relatives are women. Like St. Thomas, Queens.
Let's slow him down for a minute. The dude asked him a question, you know, because Stephen A. starting to come into these spaces speaking on relationships and marriage. And he asked him, if you know so much, why ain't you never been? Because you can only know but so much, right? They say, oh, you sound like Bonquisha. My mama been married. Oh, my family. I grew up around women. What the hell that got to do with the price of tea in China? You don't know much. You know very little.
There we go. We started with accountability. It was dressed up as accountability, but no, an excuse. He said he ain't married because he knows that he can't be faithful on the streets. I mean, out here on the road. That could be true, but then again, like we touching on, you can't speak on it. Then you don't know nothing about it, and the relationships that your relatives had have no bounds on you. If that was so, I sure as heck wouldn't be married. I ain't never seen a healthy marriage. Quite the contraire. Shoot, I should be out here hound dogging it, but heck no.
Brooklyn, Manhattan, upstate, the whole bit, Florida, Carolinas. I got relatives all over the place. Most of them are female. So I've been surrounded by females all my life. And you get to know what the do's and don'ts, what the wants and don't wants are, and all of this other stuff. That's a given. And there's a level of treatment that I'm never going to go lower than. So in that regard, I'm good. But when I was on the road for 200 days out of the year, man, and this is the part that men don't reveal.
And here's what I'll say. 2 things is true. I don't disagree with him, you know, wanting to be single, you're on the road, whatever. The thing is, quit acting like you got a PhD in marriage and you know so much about marriage and all this stuff. When you don't, I mean, just not as much as the people who truly know.
There you go. That part. That's all I was saying too.
Much, but I will. When you get older, you grow up and it's like, you don't need it no more. You don't need it no more. So you don't chase. That's entirely different than when it's handed to you on a silver platter. And you don't have to work for it. That doesn't mean you can't say no. It certainly doesn't mean that you don't say no. What it does mean is that it's harder.
I think that that's a fair point that Stephen A is making right now, and that forget the relationship part, right, in its entirety. Stephen A, this is the way that I translate what he said. Stephen A was more focused on chasing his purpose and making sure that he was great in his career than he was on trying to split time and trying to make sure that he was balancing a life to ensure that a woman would be happy with him. Let me say that again. Stephen A was more focused and he understood what his path was going to be. And he said, for this amount of years, I'm going to be chasing this maybe even for the rest of my life. And I do not have time to prioritize what the wants are or what the requirements would be in being in a marriage or a relationship and faithful to a woman. Stephen A. Smith has had to answer to no one because Stephen A. Smith's purpose was always a priority. I believe men should always have a purpose and a priority of whatever it is that they're seeking and they're chasing or whatever it is that they feel like they're great at. You would be more, and of course you still have to be great at it, right? You still got to deliver, you still got to, get the results. But you would be more productive for you people that are absolutely dedicated to the grind and the hustle, because also what I see a lot of times happen is dudes that really are truly dedicated and they doing the right thing, they have to pull back, they have to throttle, they have to consider other people. And I just don't like that. I don't like.
Well, it's a lot, dear. It's the burden of a man. So there's 2 things. If you want to be a family man, that ain't for you. But if you're out here on your grind, I don't recommend a lot of y'all brothers get married these days, especially if you grinding the way these women acting. So yeah, stay focused on you. And if something come your way, granted, but don't be chasing, like LeBron said, right?
Yeah, definitely don't be chasing. Folks like Stephen A. Smith, this is my take on gentlemen like him. Him and not Cam Newton, Nick Cannons of the world, they, came into their self later in life. And, it's a thing, it's levels, man. Whenever, like growing up, like, I don't know, being in athletics, you know what it's like to be liked or wanted by women. But somebody like the brother Stephen A, you see his demeanor when he ain't no sister's first choice from what we've learned up here in this dating market. So now that he got his gravitas, his money, and now that the women are coming to him, he has yet to live these experiences. So he ain't turning them down. That's why they say go sow your wild oats. Get these experiences out the way so you can settle down. But if you sitting there and you ain't used to these experiences and things get boring, if you will, with your relationship, and hot, fiery senoritas keep coming down the pike, and you somebody like Stephen A, you want these experiences, you go have them. Got to get them out the system.
Yeah, and this is the Stephen A. Smith that says the first thing that he does when he wakes up in the morning is to figure out ways to make his boss more money. And then the second thing is to figure out ways to get it. And now you see how far that hairline is already back. So imagine if he was married and traveling and on the road, and he'd have the whole George Jefferson going on. So marriage ain't for him. It's clear because he's, like Anton said, on his purpose, and that's what he's focused on. We could see it because that hairline, it keeps going further and further back.
Like that. I think that a man's purpose should always be first. And then, everything else come after that and come second. And that's the life that he chose. I have no problem with what Stephen A. Smith is saying right now.
It doesn't mean that you don't say no. What it does mean is that it's harder.
I had a homeboy, his saying was, he said, I don't chase it, but I ain't fast enough to run from it.
That was me for a long time. And so I saw cats in our industry using their per diem to pay for their women. Meals, hotels, that kind of thing. They come out of their pocket. Because if it did, their wife would have noticed. And I'm like, I ain't living like that.
Yeah,
I ain't gonna be that kind. Nah. You know what I'm saying? I'm not Gandhi and I'm not the Pope or anything like that, but I'm a God-fearing, decent man. I'm not living like that. And I've never been that guy. But it's not easy when you're
too much temptation. Like you said, you out on the road. So he was, a journalist, NBA. He flying from city to city every night. I'm in Houston. Next night, I'm in Chicago. Like LeBron and them, they don't play games every night, but the reporters are covering games every night, right? So their job don't stop. So when LeBron and them get 2 or 3 days off, he still got to go to New York or to Charlotte or 20 cities and cover a game. And like he said, there's always women throwing coup de kata. And you ain't never home. A man on the road 200 days, that ain't natural. So it's going to be hard to be the lot.
There you go. Yeah, this is extreme. I don't think that relationships like this can last. I don't believe in long distance. Relationships are where the woman or husband are gone for weeks on end. That ain't conducive to longevity. It's just not at all. Ain't no way around that, man. But also, like with the whole wanting the experience, I always say, all my marriage-minded sisters, how do you guard yourself from your over the road truck driving husband or your, on the road, salesman husband? How do you combat the harlots? Present him with your best self. There's a science behind this because he'll be out there when he come across a harlot with a big booty or whatever, and she trying to throw coup de cat, and he gonna be like, you know what? I got this at home. It's not worth risking. But if he like, dang, my woman at home like 350, and you and you over here, 135, man, I ain't never had that.
And he just hit on something that we always talk about, how these women become expenses. Like he said, these jobs, they were getting per diem for meals and hotel, and they was using it on these women. A lot of these guys, corporate and this type of stuff, And these women be like, oh, he took me to a steakhouse. Yeah, he ain't pay for that.
That $5,000 was on ESPN. You didn't even know it.
Younger, and you're climbing and you're scratching and you're clawing and you're not settled and ain't nothing but temptation comes your way. I ward it off with ease now because I've been there, done that. I'm about to turn 58 years old, but I don't need it like I used to. But back in the day, listen, I'm not going to be like those dudes years ago. Remember those dudes that went on that apology tour?
Yeah.
They pissed me off. They really did. That was another Oprah thing. That was another Oprah thing. And Susan Taylor from Essence. I mean, boy, I got to tell you. I mean, around 2005, they apologized. And I'm like, really? That's what we doing?
Right.
That's what we doing. And you got these women thinking that you reached this epiphany. You were so wrong. You full of shit. That's not what it was. What it was is that you found somebody that made you happy.
Yeah.
And so because you found somebody that made you happy, you stopped. Now that you stopped, you want to dime out all the other dudes.
Now you snitching.
Now you snitching. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they full of, this is the kind of stuff. See, people don't see this kind of stuff.
Hey.
It's like, and I saw it, and I'm like, nah, y'all wrong.
Hey, Stephen, that's when they come to you, man. You need to change, brother.
Please.
Look at me.
Y'all come on out. They got it.
It's a whole lot of panda bears out there right now.
So there you go. He talking about holier than thou. All right. We used to be out here doing dirt together. And now you done cleaned up. Now you want to tell me how to live my life. Granted, I don't know. Good luck.
Yes, it ain't about being holier than thou. See, because I was this guy. I've been married, I got married before dang near all of my friends and compadres. And I was that guy out at the club with my boy Terrence, out to my brother Terrence. And I'm like, hey man, we having a good time. I'm like, ain't gotta always be trying to chase it. Let's have a good time. But definitely not being the same, but just looking out.
It's a totally different dynamic. These dudes is 50, 60 years old. They've been doing this for 30 years together. Yeah, this wasn't no college type stuff. They've been doing this clear into adulthood, into their 40s and 50s. And you can't just look one day and say, hey, it don't work like that.
Yeah, that's true. Because you can say, Ninja, shut up. I was just lying for you. There you go. So yeah, be careful how you move out here, because everybody gonna hold one another accountable, especially as men. Y'all sisters, I don't know, not so much. Y'all brush stuff under the rug. Y'all take secrets to the grave for one another.
Does he have children?
He has a daughter. I'm not sure how old she is.
Okay. So he doesn't have like 12 kids over his, 30-year career. He has one kid out there, Okay. I mean, I was going to say, I don't see a problem with it if he, hasn't been making babies and creating broken homes all over the place like a Cam Newton, but or a Nick Cannon, because we were talking about him too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I love to see the guys having a conversation.
I will say this though,
looking so healthy.
I will say this to that. Stephen A. is no Cam Newton. He is no Nick Cannon.
Oh yeah, he's
is
not
a
like
late bloomer. So when Cam Newton was 18 years old, he was the cream of the crop. Stephen A. the cream of the crop at 58, not 18. So he ain't even of childbearing age. If he was, he would have 10 kids.
Okay.
There you go. There you go.
It's so many guys that's panda bearing it up. And now because they decided that they wanted to chill out, now all of a sudden they want to start having a conversation with everybody else, telling them that they got to follow them and do exactly what they're doing. No, you just give the information and you let it land where it may, and then you allow for people to make better decisions. Now, if you want to have a conversation with somebody, it's important to have a conversation with somebody about being responsible about what the decisions are that you're making. Running the bag up, chasing your purpose, making sure that you understand and build character along the way. Those are the things. But these dudes, man, listen, panda bearing is at an all-time high, and it's crazy right now, and they are absolutely right.
They got us. They got us. Y'all come on out.
Exactly. They got it. You got yours. You see what I'm saying? And by the way, you was doing all this, right? But now that it's time to stop, now you want to reach this epiphany. I was wrong, and I'm sorry. And then you saw the tears. You saw the voice quivering and all this stuff. And I'm like this, you got to be kidding me.
So we've been up here tonight. We talking about You either win or you getting played in the dating market. And Stephen A said he ain't getting played. He ain't out here like Klay Thompson, right? He say he choosing a different approach. He ain't about to be hugged up with Meg.
Good on him. Yeah, I ain't got too much pushback for Wild Stephen A. Smith on this topic. You know, yeah, I would not advise him to get married ever. Knowing what I know now with this date, Mark, keep doing what you're doing till you can't no more. Is that safe to say? For some of us, men and women, you know, like I say, keep it light. I'm on record saying that. Find somebody, you know, that you like and y'all on the same page, same vibration. At best, just keep it light. Don't get too heavy. That's all. You know, don't be talking about bills and, you know, always throwing birds on one another. It might break it. Just keep it light and cool and fun.
Yeah, and for any young man that's out there listening, that's chasing your purpose, it's okay to chase your purpose and still have a marriage if that's what you desire. You just make sure that you have a woman who understands your purpose and knows that what you're supposed to be doing and what you will be doing, and the right one will fall in line along with that. So you can have both, but you just have to find someone that is okay with it and understands and knows what it is. So it can happen.
To drive the point home, find a woman that agrees and is okay with your purpose being first. That is numero uno. She needs to be okay with your purpose being first, because you ain't ish without your purpose. So she ain't gonna like you without a purpose. So the purpose must be first, and that's it. Then it works. But you put the woman first and not your purpose, you are going to fail. You are going to lose her hypergamous nature, and you're going to get hurt. Says, I was a professional drummer for 14 years before I got married and had good women on the road will break you. Oh, man. Says, no matter what you got at home, Mr. Wilson. You mean me, Mr. Walker? Okay. Sheesh.
Oh, yeah, that's why I was saying, yeah, that's the context, not going to work and coming home every day. That, yeah, we know about that. But yeah, as a man, been on the road more than half the year.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's
Good
so
luck.
hard.
Yeah.
It's just so treacherous out there to just not fall into kudakata that don't
Yeah,
belong to you.
when I was young, yeah, me and my wife had these discussions. I said, yeah, I can't be on the road gone. It don't just ain't gonna work. Not young.
That part. So for that, we're gonna put Stephen A in the sub and keep it moving.
Dang, Steve.
The passengers of the doomed Titanic sub spent their last moments in total darkness looking for bioluminescent creatures out of the small window and listening to their favorite music. The new details of the 5 passengers' final moments have been revealed by the wife and mum of the father-son duo.
Wade in the water, diamond, wade in the water. Something's gonna trouble the water. You better wade in the water. Yeah, man.